Hello everyone, this is part 5 of the Gospel of Thomas Decoded. Let's start with verse 50. If they say to you, "Where do you come from?" then say to them, "We have come from the light." The place where the light has come into being by itself has established itself and appeared in their image. Now this is of course God appearing to you in your meditation. If they say to you, "Is it you?" then say, "We are his children, and we are the elect of the living Father." If they ask you, "What is the sign of your Father among you?" then say to them, "It is movement and repose." You could translate movement and repose as to like action and assertiveness to, and repose to rest. The sign of your Father is kind of like progress through action and rest, which is usually how it's done. 51. His disciples said to him, "When will the resurrection of the dead take place, and when will the new world come?" He said to them that the resurrection which you are awaiting has already come, but you do not recognize it. I'm not sure where they draw the line between the new world and the old world. It might be where Jesus comes in. Jesus is the new world. I'm really not sure how they divide that up. But in the Bible, there's sort of a new world and an old world, and I think that's what he's talking about. Sometimes when they refer to like today's civilization and the types of stuff going on now, they refer to it as the new world or something, it seems. I guess the new world is what is when the end is going to happen and all that kind of thing. "52. His disciples said to him, 24 prophets have spoken in Israel, and all of them have spoken through you." He said to them, "You have pushed away the living one from yourselves, and you have begun to speak of those who are dead." So I think this is trying to say something about the people in Israel. I think this is talking about the people in Israel not accepting Jesus in total. And they're speaking of Jesus as if he's dead, as if he's not, part of God. His disciples said to him, "Is circumcision beneficial or not?" He said to them, "If it were beneficial, their father would beget them circumcised from their mother. But the true circumcision is in the Spirit, has prevailed over everything." What they're saying here is there's no benefit to circumcision. And if there was a benefit to circumcision, it would be done by God inside the womb naturally. I chose not to circumcise my own child because I felt the exact same way. I felt that if there was something to that, then it would be naturally like that. But that's just me, and apparently Thomas too. And I think this is telling everybody that there is no point to circumcision. The only circumcision that there's a point to is, I'm not sure why they, I guess you're circumcising, you're cutting off the bad part of your spirit, right? If you go with God, you circumcise yourself and you get rid of the bad. It's kind of a weird analogy, but anyway. 54. Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to you." When the Bible and stuff says this, "Blessed are the poor, the kingdom belongs to you," it's telling you that you've already won half of the battle with reaching God. Half of the battle with reaching God is detaching from the material things. That's a huge blockage for God. If you can't detach from your material things, you'll have all kinds of problems reaching God. So the person that has been detached from all their material things already, they're already halfway there. All they need to do is say, I've got nothing. Please provide for me, Lord. Help me. And God will. And it'll be a lot easier for that person because they've already gotten rid of all their material stuff. Now, 55, Jesus says, "Whoever does not hate his father and his mother cannot become a disciple of mine. And whoever does not hate his brothers and his sisters will not take up his cross as I do, will not be worthy of me." Okay, a lot of people get this kind of thing confused. It can be confusing when you don't know what you're talking about. Now, when it says whoever does not hate his mother and father, this is not really hating. It's kind of written kind of trickily like that. If it was to be written more properly, it would be something like, whoever does not hate the poor ways in which your parents act because of the crappy society that you live in. That's a better way to put it, because what this is really talking about is just seeing the failings in your parents. We never grow past our parents and grow beyond our parents and become greater than our parents unless we see the failings in our parents and we don't follow those failings. It's like right now we see sort of a rebound from a lot of people becoming enlightened, and a lot of those people are becoming enlightened because their parents were kind of terrible in certain ways. Like, I grew up in the 80s when there was this tough love thing from the Reagan administration and such, and parents were supposed to be really just horrible to their kids, like military boot camp style or something. Like, really hard on their kids. Don't love your kids, just be hard on them like a military trainer or something. This kind of thing is just terrible. And lots of kids were offended from it and grew up in the 80s, and now they rightly so, they hate this part of their parents, like it says here, because they see the failing. They see that they see that their parents claimed they were Christian, but they weren't Christian to their kids. They treated their kids like some boot camp recruit, right? So that's what they're talking about there. Whoever does not hate his brothers and sisters, it's a similar thing. You need to see the failings in others. But the other hidden thing here is that there's a detachment thing. Just like when someone has to detach from the material world, when someone reaches for God and tries to make that connection with God, you have to do this thing where you detach from everything. You have to let go of all earthly things, and that includes people. As difficult as that is, that includes people that you have any attachment to. You have to detach from them, and it can be tricky. You can have attachments to people that you don't even know about, really. And it's a kind of a difficult process to even gauge these things and feel it out in your meditation. But what it's kind of saying here is that until you detach from everything and everybody, all earthly things, you will not be worthy, and you will not have let go of everything. And it's one of those things, you either let go of everything or you haven't. It's one or the other. There's no in between. I mean, there's a tiny in between, and there might be some tiny attachment you have to some person that's like insignificant. But if you have real attachments, major attachments, those are the major ones. That's why it's mentioning family and brothers, fathers, mothers, stuff like that. It's not mentioning just any acquaintance, right? (56) Jesus says, "Whoever has come to know the world has found a corpse. And whoever has found this corpse, the world is not worthy." Now there's a couple of different ways to look at this one, because the world has gone so wrong in so many ways. One corpse could be that meditation is dead in this world in a way. It's been hidden, suppressed, condemned, demonized. That's one corpse. Another corpse you could see is just that you have to see the illusion of the material world. You could consider this illusion that you need to see through as a corpse, as a dead thing, as the material world is sort of dead, and God's world is the one that's really alive, the spiritual world. That's really what this is kind of trying to say. 57, Jesus says, "The kingdom of the Father is like a person who had good seed. His enemy came by night. He sowed darnel among that's weeds. Somebody sowed weeds. Enemy came by night,